Hello guys, hi. I am Neelakantha Bhanu Prakash, and today I'm going to be trying to answer this one question which I think all of us has reckoned, has seen, has probably come across either with us or the people around us. Why are people scared of mathematics? To answer this, and I think I will hear similar answers, I'll probably establish what mathematics is to me and in general. Mathematics is the center of the learning universe when it comes to understanding how quantities behave, how the world around us functions, how we interact with each other, and I will go ahead to such an extent and even say mathematics is almost as first nature to human beings as language is. We don't hear a lot of people mentioning, hey, I'm scared of language. I'm scared of speaking. I'm scared of communicating. Sure, you might say there might be individuals who say, I'm not the most, the most communicating speaker. I might probably not be the best reader. But in general, we are not scared of language. But fear of math is omnipresent. Before I address this, I'm going to be introducing myself. I am Neelakantha Bhanu Prakash, the world's fastest human calculator, and let me tell you what that means. I hold a bunch of world records, which has gotten me the title of being the fastest human calculator. Some of these world records were once held by a very famous Indian individual who is globally celebrated, Ms. Shakuntala Devi, if you guys might have known. I broke 4 such world records and 50 LIMCA book records at the age of 18 and went on to win the gold medal for India at the Mind Sports Olympics 2020 and becoming the first Indian or Asian to ever do so. BBC has titled me as the Usain Bolt of mathematics, and I have conducted more than 500 stage shows and taken more than 2,500 classes. What makes me be here in a position to talk to you guys is that my journey with mathematics started very similarly to how an individual is scared of mathematics in general. I was a regular school-going kid who just learned numbers as they were. There was nothing phenomenal with what I have learned. There is nothing phenomenal in terms of the way I've navigated across math curriculum. But one incident changed my life entirely. At the age of 5, I met with an accident and I was bedridden for an entire year after a head injury. And I was in a 5-day unconscious coma situation and was back. It was a miracle to even survive through this. And doctors told my parents that Bhanu might actually be cognitively impaired. So be careful, keep stimulant activities around. My parents, my mom specifically, took care of my next year where I did not go to school, where I was not a part of the schooling curriculum, where I was introduced to puzzles, where I was introduced to mathematics, where I was introduced to numbers, where I was introduced to quantities, where I was introduced to things which commanded a lot of cognitive ability exercise. And this 1 year shaped me into who I am today. And I would say, in retrospect, I think this is the 1 year being away from public education, looking at mathematics and problem solving from a slightly different way, which helped me. But as I grew, I was 14 when I actually won my first international championship. By the time I was 15, I actually held 7 LIMCA book records. By the time I was 16, I held 28 of them. And by the time I was 17, I held whatever I hold today, which you see here in this slide. The real meaning towards my journey started when I was 17 years of age, was when, Bhanu, what can you contribute to the world around you? Because 3 out of every 4 students across the world fear mathematics. Maybe I'll check a raise of hands on whether you or someone you know is extremely phobic of numbers or mathematics in general. You or anyone you know for that matter. I'm sure that's a lot of people. In fact, that's everyone. I, on a daily basis, hear every single person saying, Bhanu, you are the fastest human calculator. I'm literally your opposite. 3 out of every 4 students across the world fear mathematics. What do I mean by that is more than 75% of students who learn and go through school do not know that multiplication is repetitive addition. This might be a little surprising for you to hear. 75% and greater number of students across the world do not understand that 23 times 4 is 23 plus 23 plus 23 plus 23. Or for that matter, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, 23 times. In a world where we are measuring our success as humanity, our success as a society, as a civilization with the literacy levels we do, we barely look at what numeracy levels are. In fact, here's a couple of stats for you to look at. Are we doing better over the years? Not really. In the Indian context, a class 5 student's basic math proficiency, tested literally by being able to look at numbers, recognize what they are, being able to perform simple arithmetic computations, that being defined as what math proficiency is, decreased from 37% to 28% of late. And that means that we are seeing a significant dip in the number of people who can understand basic mathematics. And mathematics is the center of the learning universe. I stress again, whether you would want to go into science, engineering, technology, arts, humanities, or for that matter, finance, or economics, or basically even understanding yourself. Mathematics and arithmetic exercise is one of the best ways you can train your own cognitive abilities. But children, not being subjected to such courseware or learning pathways, are falling behind. 56% of class 8 students in India cannot do basic math. When I say basic math, I'm talking about 23 multiplied by 4. In a society where we are saying that we are moving towards being a civilization or being a country which is going to be the tech leader of tomorrow, the digital leader of tomorrow, the leader of engineering, the leader of STEM fields, we are far behind in terms of pushing the basic hygiene, which is to be numerically capable. All of these, right, the lack of curriculum which shapes the children in a nice way, the lack of curriculum which makes children stimulate their own thought, results in lack of math confidence. And you would be surprised to know that in India currently in the public school system, 80% of dropouts in the public school system before 8th grade happens because a student failed in mathematics as a subject. So not only is math phobia contributing towards what the child's opportunities in the future are, but in general is the measure towards how educated a country is. So that brings me to the question, are some people just not made for math? How many of you believe that here? Are some people just made differently? Are just some people not capable of learning math? I would disagree. But who is to blame for these increasing math phobia among learners? Is it the curriculum? Is it the people? Is it the way things are being taught? Is it what we judge? Is it what we evaluate on? There's obviously an infinite number of factors which might come in. But today, I'm going to be painting my understandings of being the world's fastest human calculator on my understanding towards how we can beat math phobia, not only in, let's say, the students who learn in school, but even adults. A survey recently mentions that more than 45% of the working professionals across the world who are in science or STEM-related fields tell that they have faced problem with mathematics and they actually hate it. So math phobia does not manifest only in children, but manifests across. But I'm going to be telling you the story of 3 children today. From my experience after talking and teaching thousands of children across thousands of schools, this is what I've put together. An anecdote towards why math phobia even comes into place, into picture, why someone is scared of mathematics as they progress. 3 stories. The story of Rahul, a 6-year-old, the story of Tulsi, an 8-year-old, and the story of Iqbal, a 13-year-old. Rahul, as you see, age 6, says, I cannot do math because I cannot remember tables. How many of you understand, relate to what Rahul says here. I cannot do maths because I cannot remember tables. Rahul is a 6-year-old who just navigated through what education is. He's probably just picking up his first four-letter words or 5-letter words in, let's say, his English curriculum later or his language curriculum. But says, I cannot do math. I've given up on it because I cannot remember tables. Tulsi, who says, big questions scare me. Should I multiply, add, or divide? What do I do? Big questions scare me. You give me a word problem, I freak out. How many of you here have probably gone through the school curriculum where the biggest question they've seen in an exam paper is the word problem in math class? It sure is, because you're being taught very elementary stuff in, let's say, your other subjects, but in math you're somehow expected to do a lot of things. Iqbal, age 13, is introduced to algebra for the first time in his life. Says, will I ever use this in my life? Do I care? What are alphabets doing here? Right? I think this is something which you guys relate to. I'm sure people who have taken up technology, engineering fields later might think of this to be not that big a problem, but I'm sure what happened when we learned about Fourier analysis, something very similar. What I would want to drive here is a conversation about something which we as individuals are taught as we learned, regardless of how much ever innovation curriculum has, is that memorizing well is equal to learning well. But it isn't. Memorizing well is not equal to learning well. Memorizing tables is not equal to arithmetic competence. The fact that Rahul, Tulsi and Iqbal were thinking that they were not good at math was because they were evaluated on the wrong reasons. Memorizing tables is not equal to you being good at arithmetic. Memorizing a process, something like a BODMAS, something like a proof, something like a sequence of steps which you need to get to your answer, is not problem solving. And for what it's worth, memorizing formulae is not equal to strong math foundation. While I think a lot of people do understand this, this is not how the system has been built. How do we solve the problems of these Rahul, Tulsi and Iqbal who represent the country at large, or for that matter, the world at large? Because I personally, after working with more than, as I've mentioned, a ton of schools, realized that these are the 3 inflection points. A child who freaks out because facts are not some things they accept. A slightly elder learner who is scared because of the intimidating question in front of you. Or the learner who freaks out when you get into abstract math. How do you solve it? Here's Rahul. The solution which I propose, and I think something which you would resonate with, is to emphasize on the whys of every new thing taught. Tables are just a hacky way to understand and do calculations quickly. You don't have to memorize them. Were you as a child told that? Not really. I think our teachers came into the room, regardless of wherever you studied in, be it India, be it across, what is 8 eighths? And if you do not say 64, then there's something wrong with you. The fact that someone accepts 8 times 8 is equal to 64 is a fact-based knowledge. It has nothing to do with their arithmetic competence. If Rahul was told this, that you can always figure it out, you can add 8 times, they would have probably not evaluated themselves on just that particular question. The result, if you do emphasize that remembering is not everything, is Rahul saying, I enjoy math because I understand the concept of multiplication, and remembering tables are not important. Okay, I might want to remember them because I might want to be quicker, but that is no prerequisite towards my understanding of mathematics. What Tulsi says here is, if you have a big question in front of you which tells you to apply a bunch of things, use proper story narratives to build the perspective. Make problems relatable. How many of us did really even understand why fractions existed? Why were we even introduced to the world of irrational numbers? Why did the study of trigonometry come into picture? Why did we start looking at coordinate axis? Why are we bothered about continuous and partial differential equations? Why are we bothered about integrating? Why are we bothered about learning a ton of things which we as students, back when we were in school, back when we were in college, regardless of wherever you are, subjected to? If you do not make it relatable, it's no fun. We take the decimal number system for granted. I'll probably ask a question. What number comes after 9? I think maybe a quick hoot will help. What number comes after 9? 10 is 1, 0, right? Why does the number 1, 0 come after 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Why can't it be a star A, B, C, D, M, N, O, P, and then 10? Why so? Can I not have a system which says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 40, 30, 31, 33, 33, 34, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 100? Can I not have a system like that? I can. In fact, one of the systems which exists the same way is binary. It's 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. The binary system works similarly. The fact that we have 0 to 9 to be the symbols which we agreed on is because we have 10 fingers. It is of biological importance, not because of any other reason. And that is not taught to a child who is made to accept that 10 comes after 9. God knows why 11 is a number and it's not 1T1, right? And 12 being a number and not 10 and 2. So you expect children to pick up a lot of things, but not question the very nature of why things exist the way they do. Someone who did this back in the 1800s, questioned the very nature of why the Indo-Arabic numeral system is the way it does, contributed to the origin of what binary numbers are, what hexadec is, led to the invention of computers, whatnot, and maybe all the way till Alan Turing. The questioning nature of why do I care? If you don't give me enough reasons, I will not accept. That is probably the way we would want to build education as. As far as Iqbal goes, someone who's scared of algebra, eliminate the necessity to memorize redundant formulae. I need not remember the formulae because I can always derive them. I don't think this is something which we talk in general. A plus B whole square is A square plus 2AB plus B square, sure, but how does it matter when I do not understand that it is because of distributive property, commutative property, a bunch of other properties which go into the way it works. Having a 7th grader by heart this is as bad as saying, take this book, here's a dictionary, learn the entire dictionary, come back to me, let me tell you how to speak. We don't see language teachers do that, right? We don't have people who come up to us and say, here's a dictionary, I want you to memorize every single definition, every single meaning, and then let us start the journey of learning, applying this in the world around you. Traditional methods only help students who remember facts well, and nothing beyond. And every student is capable of learning and loving mathematics. What I'll also continue with here is mention that the realm of mathematical learning is guarded by some people by the people we least expect. The way mathematics curriculum is created, be it in this country or anywhere in the world currently, it's by looking at what a child needs and how do we get there by teaching them lesson A, lesson B, lesson C. But the time is to change. We are here to make sure that as a society, as we progress, mathematics phobia should not be the reason which curtails a certain individual, a few children, to not be able to do whatever they want to. Create a confident society where mathematics as a subject is something which is not labeled as scary and something which I would not want to be a part of. And if there is something which I will probably quote from my journey of becoming whomever I have become, is that mathematics might feel like a science. Mathematics might feel very technical in its sense, very hard truths, rights and wrongs. But learning mathematics is a true human experience. It is where you understand that 2 is greater than 1 because 2 of certain kind is greater than 1 of certain kind. It is something which is wired into what human beings and evolution is. And I think we need to move towards a society where, oh, I'm scared of mathematics. This is something which I can't do, to be the norm. And to do that, I think there is a lot to be done in terms of curriculum redefinitions, objectives of curriculum, and last importantly, the learner's orientation towards what they're going for. It's most probably always not about what you learn, but about why you learn what you learn. And saying that, I'll probably end my conversation and take a few questions. Thanks a lot.